Hello guys and welcome back to another video, and this time we're checking out Undefined, a brand new early access game which I've been given behind the scenes access to, and special thanks does go to the devs for sponsoring this video and sending me a handful of keys to give away. So if you're interested in checking this out by the end of the video, then do let me know your reasons why in the comment section below and I will randomly select a few of you. So Undefined on the surface is a survival game similar to Valheim or Minecraft, with the character having to search out for food and harvest resources to build homes. But this is early access, so a lot of the features that I'd really like to see are still being worked on, such as enemies, farming, automation and vehicles including flight. That being said, there is a pretty cool feature that stands this game apart from a lot of other similar building games, which we will get to in a little bit. So first off, we find ourselves in one of a variety of chosen biomes on a single planet. And if we had a flying vehicle or a spaceship available in game, which they will be worked on, we'd actually be able to fly across the whole planet. But alas, we will need to wait for that. Starting off, we're able to interact with items by pressing F, such as this berry bush. Though there isn't an animation for this action, you can see we gather the resources in our inventory, and we can actually then eat the berries to feed us, which is the only real survival element in the game currently, as you can't take damage from falling, for example. We can also use these sticks that we gather to create tools. So we can do this by hitting I and then going to our inventory screen and then placing the sticks in our inventory, then going across to the crafting icon. Here we can craft various items such as a shovel, or once we find some stone on the floor, a wooden axe. Now, of course, the devs decided to challenge me here by hiding one stone in this rather dense forest. Thankfully, we have plenty of food available to us whilst we're searching for the stone, and it would be nice, in all honesty, to see a few more stones scattered around here and there. There's also a night and day cycle, which are nice, but if you're worried about finding that one stone before it gets dark, don't worry, you can actually craft a shovel and dig deep because all the terrain is destructible. And once you hit the rock, which is a little bit below the surface, you'll actually pick up some stone. And then if you want to go further, you need to actually use a pick, where you can actually find minerals like coal, gold, bauxite, iron, copper, you name it. It's all down there. Of course, now that I'm so deep into the forest and have got lost out here, I don't actually know my way out. So what we're going to do is build a little tower to get my bearings, and then I'll show you the joy of creative mode. But first, let's create a little clearing in this forest for this little tower that we're going to do. Now this is where it gets interesting. So once we've built a workbench, we have access to the custom object section. Now this is where we can design our own blocks. Now this isn't for the faint-hearted. It takes some work to getting used to it, but it can create some pretty crazy stuff. We can choose the material and the shape and add blocks to create a specific item. And if you want to, you can actually get super detailed by adding other blocks to it as well. And once you've created it, you can save the item and it will tell you how much of these resources it will require to build. Obviously, if you want to use metals, you're going to have to mine the mineral and then smelt it first, which we can do currently in game. Of course, it would be great to have our own automated miners at this point, but alas, not for the time being. You'll have to get out that little pickaxe and work away at it yourself, as if you were actually trying to survive on this wilderness planet. But don't worry, later on, they will have that option in game. Think of it as a bit like Space Engineers, this game, but with a much deeper block designer. They're going to add space stations as well and the ability to travel to other planets. So though this game is a little rough around the edges, I am super interested with how this is going to develop. And the thing is, this kind of deep block designer is is what this whole game is centered around. It's the whole concept of Undefined. The devs were feeling very restricted with the blocks that they were often given in survival games. And I totally agree with that approach. Too often I've wanted to produce something really detailed and not been able to. We all know my favorite aspect of Satisfactory is the ability to create our own designs and have our own customizable feel to our factories. Well, what if we had the option to go super detailed? That's what I'm excited for, especially if this game does have automation down the road, vehicles, electricity, and logic systems. Sure, the graphics and the style, like I said, are a little rough around the edges, same with the animations. But let's do a little time lapse now and see what we can do with these tools in creative. We'll do something simple, like design a house. As you can see, we've started by clearing out a little section of the forest to build in. Now I think we'll go for a modern aesthetic for this one rather than actually building my own house. But we'll be placing down some cobblestone as the foundation for the garden. Then around this we will add some white marble stairs because you know I'm a man of class, yeah? Once I've placed down the foundations of the house, I will add the walls. Now I could have made this much easier by producing larger sheets for me to place down, a bit like the glass windows, but I rather have more control over it, so I tend to use smaller blocks rather than bigger ones. This just means that I can be more specific with the detail, but to be honest, I dislike the little seams that you can see in the walls here, so it might be better to custom make the larger walls in this game. The next thing that I focused on was the little entrance. I was actually considering placing pillars, but went against this in the end. But either side of this doorway, we've added large glass windows, and I've actually tried to cover up the window seams with a small section of wall to make it feel more merged as well. At this point, you can really see the downstairs starting to take shape as an overall build. This will be actually where the kitchen and the dining area are, and also the lounge, which will be looking out over the scenery. And I'm hoping to add a few bits of detail too. Once the wall was in the right position, in the right height, I designed some iron girders as supports for the outer frame, and I'm pretty happy with how these turned out. It took a little bit of time working out all the parts of the customization, but overall I'm pretty happy with it. I was a little bit concerned placing the iron girders with the positioning and getting everything wrong, but thankfully the merge on this section actually is pretty clean, so you can't tell where I've added another one in the middle to make up for the gap. I found myself making quite a few mistakes, and a good thing about this game is you can build a hammer which will actually take down the thing that you've just built and place it back in your inventory, so you don't have to worry about losing items. And this was really helpful when it came to designing the upper floor with the windows and the wooden half walling, I guess you could call it, and then also the back walls, because I just kept misplacing everything. And finally, I then added a large window panel at the front for the bedroom on the second floor, followed by roofing all of that off. Next up, we needed to add some detail to the inside. So here you can see me playing around with designing an oven to go along with the dark marble tops of the wooden sideboards. But looking over the game, the customization options do make the game incredibly deep, but I feel that there should be some basic items like walls, flooring, already made for the audience to play around with. First of all, because it can soak up a huge amount of time trying to develop and design all of these different blocks, and it can be quite overwhelming. But I must admit, I am really interested in seeing how this game develops further because, like I said, I love the depth of it. Next, let's build a couple of seats. Now, I love the look of this design that I've developed here, and I definitely feel it's very modern and in keeping with the style that we're going for, but I would love to have more materials and colors added. The same with like a rug. I would love to be able to design a nice looking rug with different colors. Next, we're moving on to the bed. Now, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out as well. It looks relatively comfy, considering it's made out of, I don't know if it's paper or if it's like marble or something. It's like some different material. But, I mean, you've got to play around with what you've got. Finishing off, I added a few art items and a bookcase, and I'm pretty happy how they turned out for my first build. But let me know what you guys think. Do I have terrible taste in decor? Let me know in the comments below. Also, remember that you can win one of the free keys. We've got a handful to give out. I will be letting you know in the comments if you win, and I will send you the key through Discord. So let me know if you're interested in this game, why. And with the game released to early access today, I'll put a link to the Steam page below. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you so much to our amazing supporters, most notably our Solar Eclipse patrons, the Calamity and Cerebral Tag, as well as our Lunar Eclipse patrons, Dixie Chris and James Irwin, as well as our Blood Moon of the Day, which today is Papa Snoozy. Anyway, guys, until next time, as always, ciao for now.